And now TSPN is proud to present Insights on Leadership and Life with your host, Roberta Pickett.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Roberta Pickett, and this is Insights on Leadership and Life. It is a new year, and many times we start talking about New Year's resolutions at this point in the year. But, you know, the last few days I started thinking about not so much what I have as a resolution, but what might have happened by next New Year's Eve. In fact, on New Year's morning, I asked my husband, "What do you want for this coming year?" And I was really surprised by his answer. At first I thought he was going to say, finish redoing the porch or finish up the projects in the garage. But he was silent for a second, and then he said, balance. And I looked at him and said, balance? He said, yeah, I really want to balance my work and the time at home and enjoy both. And I thought, you know, that's a perfect topic for this show, is what do we want from this coming year? So that's what we are going to talk about, is not our New Year's resolutions, but what's our vision for 2015. And it ended up that we're sort of like Fox's show called Outnumbered, except it's in reverse, because there's one of me and 4 males this evening. And so let me introduce them briefly. We have Vinnie Bunch from Plymouth, and he is an 8th grader who has some good ideas and some thoughts to share with us. So welcome, Vinnie.
Thank you.
And we have Wolf Hein, who owns Hein Bookstore, Hein and Company Bookstore. They actually are in the spot right beneath our feet here, and it's an amazing store. And so welcome, Wolf.
Thank you.
We have Brian Oneto with us, and he is
Roberta.
Amador County Supervisor for District 5, and also a rancher and a businessman. So welcome, Brian.
Thank you.
And last but not least, I have Tom Slivick, who is owner of this TV station, TSPN, in Jackson, California. And most of the time, he's on the other end of this. He's interviewing other people. So I thought it would be kind of fun to give Tom a chance to share his perspective on the future. So welcome to all of you. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you, Roberta.
And what I'd like to do, just to start out with, is to find out a little bit more about you, because, okay, you guys know their names, but not much else, right? So how about, Tom, you want to start out in just 2 or 3 minutes, each of you, to just share who you are, where you come from, how'd you get here?
Okay, how did I get here? First of all, let me say I don't totally own the station. Susie owns half of it with me. And I got here with Susie, and I worked in a warehouse, certified grocers, and before, while I was working in the warehouse, things like that, we got back, let me put it like this, we got back, you know, your income tax check or something like that. It's pretty large. I went down, I bought some video equipment. I bought a camera, a VCR, and things like that, and I started taping track, which my son ran track, and I coached it, but I found that, you know, you could show video and you could show kids and say, see, that's the way you run. You don't even have to say that. You say, watch this. And they say, oh, that's what you mean when I said I was doing this. And that's what you, whatever. And so it wound up being just a great, you know, tool.
A teaching tool.
Right.
Yeah,
and then, so I did that. Then when we moved up here, I moved in the area. I had my camera and things, and I started videotaping games. And one thing led to another, and next thing I know, I'm here. Is Susie supposed to be giving me cues like speed up?
Just ignore her.
Can I do that?
And tonight you
trying for a
can.
long
The rest
time.
of the time you can't ignore her, but tonight you can. So,
She's waiting at the club over here earlier, so.
so how long have you had this station?
Man, let's see. The station, you know, it's great. Wolf Hein's here. The station came up about 15, 16 years ago. Wolf was kind enough to tell me that he had more space than he needed, so I said, great. We were starting to work on my home to make the master bedroom and things like that, and instead my energies moved into here, so we built the studio. Susie designed a lot of
We put
stuff.
a wall straight through here, and I have half of this over here, and he's got this half, and of course I have the downstairs.
Yeah, so we'll get
It's
to
been
you.
at least 15 years.
that's okay. Sometimes you have to pull people in.
So you've changed, I would imagine 15 years ago was a lot different.
This changed a whole lot. Once we had the ability to go out live, then we had the ability to adjust ourselves as the station was happening. It wasn't just tape, so we could, see the colors, the sound, all of the different things. We were able to adjust for it. Then we wound up being able to have only one place, whereas before that 10 years time, we would make tapes and have to run them to Volcano Vision, Comcast. It wasn't Comcast at the time, King Video, and one down in Ione. And it was
That's been
it was quite a process. I usually didn't get finished on that night till about 6 in the morning.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Now, you are married to Susie, obviously, and you have kids?
Yes, two kids.
And grandkids?
Right. Zach and John, and John got me involved in track. So in a way that started this, but John came home one time and says, hey, I want to run track. So I said, okay, great. And so that happened, and my son Zach did football, and things like that. So they both have, Zach has 2 boys, and I'd like to say I don't see them enough. They're I'm going to say 10 and 13 right now.
So, hope you're
yeah,
right.
And stuff like that. So
well,
John has 1 girl, 3, and 1 on the way.
Congratulations.
Okay,
it's good. Well, it's good. It's interesting. Having TSPN here in the community really makes a difference.
Thanks for saying that.
No, I mean it. To have a TV presence really does make a difference in being able to get the news out and information and have shows like this. I mean, to share different things about the community is great. So thank you and welcome. Since you were talking about Hein and Company, about Wolf, let's go to him next. So Wolf, what about you? What's the background on?
Well, I'll go into the book part of it. I came to Amador County about 26 years ago. And from Marin County.
Oh, okay.
Stockton in between, but mainly from Marin. And I was in Stockton for a while and then moved up here. Get away from the crowds. It's kind of wild and woolly in Stockton years ago. It is now yet. But we moved up here. My wife at the time was working over at the trailer park over in Plymouth. And so we found ourselves in Shenandoah Valley and we loved it. Just fantastic. I had 5 acres out there. The kids could grow up and run around. I was exporting books overseas at the time. And we would cull out the better books from what we were shipping out and ended up opening up a bookstore in Plymouth.
So is
the old Colburn Pharmacy.
Was it used books?
Used books.
All used books.
Right.
Yeah.
We started out shipping what's called it's like a 20-foot container over to the Philippines. And within 6 months, I think we were sending a 40-footer every 6 weeks.
Wow.
So my brother and I were going out and accumulating all these books. We even had Boy Scout groups go out and haul books in for us, and we would pay them. And so it got really out of hand pretty quickly. And we did that part of the business for about 6 or 7 years. And it built up the store in Plymouth. And we outgrew that, and then a couple of years, then we were in Jackson on Water Street. We outgrew that in a couple of years. And
well, you have a beautiful location
so now we've got 15,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And we have another store down the street that's a gallery that's more for antiques and estate.
Well, see, I didn't even know
estate
that.
gallery, yeah.
Also really nice paintings.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Well, this, anyone who has ever been downstairs in Hein and Company, it's an adventure to go to your store.
And we've had to, especially the last 7 or 8 years, we've had to change and evolve.
Yeah.
We were the largest used bookstore in California for many years, with about 500,000 books. But as the book business altered maybe 6, 7 years ago, we've had to shrink our inventory. We've added antiques. We've added video games and LPs.
You've changed
And so
with
we
the
have
times.
to we had to redo our floor plan. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you for
Very
being
good.
here. Welcome.
Thank you.
And I'm going to go to Vinnie next. So, Vinnie Bunch, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I grew up over in Plymouth for most of my life.
Yeah.
Haven't really left here to live.
And you're in 8th grade?
Yes.
Which school are you going to?
I'm going to Ione Junior High.
All right. So, and do you have brothers or sisters?
I have 3 brothers and sisters that
All right.
live with me.
That's great.
My 2 brothers, Isaiah and Lucas, Isaiah being 11, Lucas being 1, and my little sister Jada, who is 7.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. And I really want to acknowledge you for being interested in coming in the show and your willingness to do so. And I think having our segment tonight being about vision for the future, you bring a really unique perspective to that because, you have young eyes, and that's a good thing.
Oh,
but I
okay.
have a feeling you have a lot of wisdom in there, too.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
thank you and welcome. And that leaves us, last but not least, Brian. What about you? You've been here a long time.
Well, I grew up in a ranch kind of between Jackson and Ione.
Oops, we actually might have to give you a chance in the next segment.
Okay.
Because I think we're going to run out of time, and I don't want to cut you off in
That's
the middle
okay.
of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, get Brian's info and then move on. So we're going to take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back. Insights in Leadership in Life.
With your host, Roberta Pickett.
Hello again, and welcome back to Insights on Leadership in Life. I'm your host, Roberta Pickett, and with me tonight we've got Vinnie Bunch, we've got Wolf Hein, and we've got Tom Slivick. We got some introduction on them in the first segment, and we didn't get to hear anything yet about Brian Oneto. So, Brian, tell us a little bit about yourself.
It's okay, Roberta. I was the youngest of the family, so
You always got shut
yeah,
out.
I got whatever's left over. No, I grew up in a ranch between Jackson and Ione. It's kind of an interesting place. It probably wasn't the easiest place to grow up, but it was the greatest place to grow up. Because we had no power. So we had no TV, no television, and we had kerosene lights and candles, and if we had a little well, and you'd go out and start the gas pump and pump water up to a tank, and then gravity flow back down. And you learn to pay attention because if in the evening, if the water's getting a little bit, wasn't running real well, and you didn't go and start the pump, when you woke up in the morning, it was really cold out, and there's no water, you had to walk out and start the pump. And so right now I live over, so we run cattle, I still run cattle.
We forget that still there are places and people who live without power. I mean, it seems impossible, actually, in today's world that there could still be that, but it's still
We
out
didn't
there.
know better.
I know, you didn't.
Actually, we did, we had friends, but in a way it's kind of a good thing because I'm Italian, but also by not having a TV, no offense, Tom and Sue, but you learn how to talk. We talked about this, we talked about that.
We know Brian
debated.
knows how to talk, right?
Oh my gosh! And then my dad got bit by a tick. I think he got Lyme disease before they knew what it was.
Seriously.
Yeah, and I think he had it twice before they figured out, what Lyme disease was, and he got really sick. So I was youngest, and my older brother had to pick up more of the load, but all of us kids kind of had to learn pretty fast how to run a ranch. Because Dad got really sick. He got better after a while, but never like he should have, really. So that was kind of growing up. It was a great childhood. We worked hard. There's some hard times, but you enjoy the good times. Now, I remember when I was a kid, a milkshake was like being in heaven. It was like, wow, a milkshake? Oh, life is great. And now I look at kids, and it's kind of like they get milkshakes, get this, they get that. And you don't quite appreciate things as much when a milkshake was a big deal.
Well, and same
hamburger
thing with
milkshake
TV.
was-
I
yeah.
remember we had a TV in the early, mid-50s, I guess, but we only had, we could only watch a little bit. We weren't allowed to
Okay,
watch.
can I say something about
Oh, I
TV?
guess so.
For a long time, we don't have we didn't have TV. For the kids, when we had kids, we put it off. We we do arts and crafts and all that sort of a thing. So I know where you're coming when you talk about that. You just have
The
more.
thing about
you have more
today's
time.
world, though, is we
Yeah,
have
and
the
things like that.
DVR, and we can record things and keep them for
And they're-
later, or,
Yeah.
so you can have them at
And
certain
they,
times.
I
or-
will say they have some good shows on TV anymore. And there's some that are really
This,
pretty neat.
this
Some might say
station
they had them really good
TSPN
when you
has
were
them?
younger, but how would you know?
Well, so you are still a rancher then, right?
Yeah.
And how long have you been a supervisor for the county?
Almost exactly 8 years. I want to say we're
That's right. Boy.
took office on January, I want to say the 15th, 2007.
Interesting.
Wow,
Well,
8 years
good.
already.
Well, good. So, welcome to
Yeah.
you. Yes, it does. There are probably some
Yeah.
times that have been flying, and other times that slow down.
And right now I live over by near Tri-Town.
Oh,
Wife Janine, and we still have 2 kids at home, Ben and Sarah, and we have Paige and Cole, and they flap their wings, and they went out. Paige is in Washington, D.C., and Cole's down in like San Jose area,
nice.
and still run cattle over there. I have the ranch, which when sometimes I get really all exasperated with something going on at the Board of Supervisors, I'll go out and find some wood in a splitting mull and pound away that piece of wood, and
There's something about doing that physical work that it releases
it
Yeah.
does.
the frustrations, yeah. Well, again, welcome to all of you. And I wanted to start out with the conversation about 2015, about not your resolutions, but your vision. So let's talk more at a high level to begin with. So what about the vision for this community? And you're a perfect one to answer that with your, or at least to start
Now,
the conversation.
And that's a very hard question, because is it
I
my
know.
vision for the community, or is it
The community's vision for the community,
Yeah,
right?
and it's kind of like, what is a vision? I think one thing, pretty much, I don't know if I'd say all people, almost all people want, is I think they want peace and prosperity for their community.
Absolutely.
How do you, and how to get there can be hard at times. There's a lot of issues at times with people, maybe they drank too much, or maybe they got financial difficulties, or maybe there's drug difficulties. I see that brings a lot of grief into your community, especially drugs are pretty big. And I know when you could watch, when you had the recession hit, you can see there's a lot more angst among people, among families, because I get like some certain police reports from the sheriffs, and you can see them, they spiked.
So as the anxiety level increased, other problems increased as well.
Yeah, big
Yeah,
time.
Yeah.
And I would like to see the county have more businesses. I mean, it's something we're really lacking here is businesses. Businesses are jobs. Jobs are the health of the community. I mean, if you don't have jobs, your community is going to suffer.
And there needs to be a little bit of growth in there so that as new
Right.
people come in, they can go into something, right? Or as people,
Yeah.
as young people get to a working age, they
There's
can.
some growth's not a bad thing. I don't think you
want
want to.
huge growth, but it
I think
seems
most
like there's
people that live here don't.
yeah.
You know, I think if you wanted a lot of growth, you're not going to get it here.
Right.
So
yeah,
some places just don't have the gravity to pull people in, if you would. We don't have a lot of infrastructure.
Right.
Well, we probably have the same kind of infrastructure as a lot of other places. I guess what I'm saying is, there's people, and then people sell more stuff to more people, and pretty soon, there's just more businesses, and I don't want to say pretty soon, but I come from L.A., so there's.
Right.
It multiplies faster there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when you start to get one's there and more come there, and then you have the gravity, and then you
nucleus?
can start to feed
Right.
off of each other. And that might be the wrong term, but you get to live off each other.
Yeah,
So
but
what do
business
you-
helps. Business helps.
in our community, Amador County, we're blessed geographically.
Oh, yes.
So we can't have a lot of growth. There's some areas that we can have growth, but the way we're structured, we're never going to be overly populated. It's just
No
not possible.
Highway 50, no Highway 80.
That's right.
No,
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
just
we're
not.
really blessed that way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Roberta, I'd like to say when I moved here, it's about the same time as Hein, I looked at this place. This place was to me, seemed like an aircraft carrier. There was an hour away from everything. And what went on up here, it went on. It was like an aircraft carrier. It was self-contained. If you wanted to go somewhere, it took an hour to get to Stockton. It took an hour to get to Sacramento, and that's where you would have to go to find your fancy duds or do all sorts of things and go shopping.
Right.
And once a week, to go, that was pretty fine. I actually worked in Stockton, so I would go down every day, and I could do that. But we got as much stuff as we could up here. But what I'm trying to say from the growth part is, there's not jobs up here for people, so people live where the jobs are. So until you would say get jobs, you don't have a lot of growth, and you're not going to have a lot of growth till you get.
So
It's
how do
that
we
chicken and egg
balance
thing
that?
going
Yeah,
on.
it is the chicken and egg, because the likelihood is I think there would be a very small percentage of people who want a lot of growth, but there's something about how do you maintain it, because you need sustainability too within a community. So what do you need within the community to make it worthwhile to stay here?
Why don't we get him?
Yeah.
I think he's thinking about things. Do you have an idea of what makes people stay here or want to stay here?
I really think it's more of the feeling you get when you're in this, kind of place. Like, say you go to a big city, there's all this traffic and everything is going on right over there. Or there's somebody right over there trying to get you to buy something, or, there's always so much happening. And then you come over here and it's just calm, And
Little laid back.
Yeah,
Laid
it's
back.
laid back. And you
Exactly.
just, you get a sense of peace here,
Yeah. Well said.
What you're saying is, when I used to come back from work at Stockton and I'd make the turn where you come in and you see, Butte Mountain, I would go, I could just feel it. It was like, I felt I was in a community that was contained, knew what it was, had a great definition for itself, knew where its boundaries were. It wasn't Calaveras County. It wasn't, here it was.
True.
It was Amador County. That's where we were, and I loved it. I just loved it.
Well, what might, if you have a vision for this coming year for the county or for our Amador County, is there something we do need to strive for still? And whether
There's
it's
a lot of things.
whether it's
There
within
is.
1 year
I mean,
or whether it's a
educationally,
longer
it'd be
term.
nice to see a junior college here. What happens with our families, we have great families, they get older and the kids all leave.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough growth, to really sustain our community. So a lot of our kids just leave. I was lucky that my kids did leave and they went to college, but they came back and they have families, and
Yeah.
I have a business that can sustain them, but that doesn't happen with everybody.
Right.
So if we had a little bit more growth, I think we can keep our families together, and that alone, I think, is self-sustaining. That would be really important.
And that's really, you're talking like business growth, economics.
Right.
Yeah.
Economic, right,
And it's something like, we need more of those little cottage industries,
right.
and you'll see them here and there. There's one somewhere up country, a person has a business. You'd never know it's there. Employs, I want to say 10, 12 people.
Mm-hmm.
He just started out making a little small gadget, and made a little
Right.
better gadget. And,
And I think I know who you're talking about, and he sells worldwide now.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a little cottage industry right here, and that's the kind of thing that can work. Okay, so we're going to take another quick break and hear from our sponsors. Please come back. We'll be right back.
And now back to Insights on Leadership and Life with your host, Roberta Pickett.
Welcome back to Insights on Leadership and Life. Tonight we are talking about the vision we have for 2015, and our guests to talk about that are Vinnie Bunch, Wolf Hein, Brian Oneto, and Tom Slivick. And I'm your host, Roberta Pickett. So we were just talking over the break, we were talking about our vision for the county and what kinds of growth might even be the cottage industries or small businesses that can come in and sustain the population.
Right.
But over the break, something interesting came up about, and I think
I was
you said
mentioning
it.
how we've lost businesses. We've lost the mill.
Mm-hmm.
And the mill had, pretty good blue-collar jobs,
And you
people
said
could
they
raise
had some
families
white-collar
with,
jobs
families
too.
with that, and then it wasn't just the mill, as Brian pointed out, and we'll let you get in your part, on that. But those were people that could buy things from other people. Just look at the water glasses here. So there's like more water glasses here that can start interacting with everything.
Well-
We lost Preston.
Yeah, and the whole
there's more.
construction the whole construction industry. And Vinnie, you mentioned your grandmother used to own a business in Plymouth.
Yeah, it was family-owned
Yeah,
business called the Woodman. It was a trust company.
a trust company again. The
Woodman,
construction
right.
industry. So.
Yeah.
With the downturn in real estate and the whole construction industry, there were a lot of changes that impacted our county as well.
Right.
Oh, quite a few, yeah.
Yeah.
And of
So-
course, you were timber industry, and your brothers, and so they would feed the mill. You brought up like Spinco, and a lot of people, well, Walmart killed Spinco, but tell them what you would heard.
No, it was a number of years ago. I remember going in there, I was a little bit unhappy, and erroneously, I kind of assumed that maybe Walmart had hurt Spinco's business, and that's why they're closed. And he said, oh, no, he said Walmart really didn't affect them. He said that they got 65, I think the number of 65% of their business came from that sawmill.
And when that was gone, that business went away.
Yeah.
Right.
So
And a lot of, I think it hurt some other businesses too.
I think this is a really good lead into what I wanted to talk about next is, our vision for our businesses. So we have, that vision for the county, our community, but what about our businesses? What do you?
When Brian mentions prosperity, that's, how do you have prosperity unless you have like thriving businesses and people with jobs that are able to buy and use your products or services.
And then buy and sustain themselves in this community as well, stay here, actually live here.
Right. That's right.
So what about, Wolf, do you have a vision for
I do.
this coming year?
And it's changed a little bit. We this last year we had our best year ever.
Oh,
And
that's
we
great.
employ half a dozen people and families, and we're always looking to advance. But through our changes, we've been able to increase what we've been doing.
Yeah, because you made some significant changes
we
in
have,
the
and
approach this
the,
last year, right?
Really, the last year having the estate gallery, we took on estates, several, one or two at a time, kind of thing, and that really gave us the wherewithal to improve our business here at this location. And what we used our extra money is to change what we were doing. Our second floor, my wife and I have a passion of Sherlock Holmes, and we've taken that passion and we have a club with 60-some members.
That's what you said.
Brian's
That's
Brian's daughter is one of our members.
That there are over
And
60 people.
And we're
excited.
we're structuring the second floor with 10 different shops. They're all, it's called Baker Street West, and it's amazing. People are coming in and they're seeing what we're doing. One of the shops is completely done already. It's going to take about a year to do it, and it's going to be completely different. It's 1890s London. But people are bringing their friends, and they're saying, you have to look at this room. And
you're going to
and
bring
so
people
it's a matter,
from out of town as well.
well,
It's
we're
going to be a
thinking
destination.
we're thinking even internationally.
Yeah.
My wife and I were in London last year, and we went to the Sherlock Holmes Museum, and the amount of people that were standing out of the door from all over the world going into this place. I mean, Sherlock Holmes is a phenomenon.
Well, you know,
It really is.
one of my firm beliefs is that vision is extremely powerful.
Right.
And that the more likely that when we have a vision, that
Right.
we can create that reality.
Well,
right?
we have
So
to have
I love
a
the fact
vision with enthusiasm.
that- Absolutely.
I mean, you have to back it
A
up. I mean, you have to
passion.
have resources to do it also. But the enthusiasm is way more important than anything else in having a focused vision, because you can change
Yeah, but- 'cause
almost
the
anything that way.
enthusiasm
It's
is contagious.
it's that will.
Right.
Then
It
you
is.
find the way.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
truth
That's
to
right.
that.
Yeah.
It's like, I tell people, you look at some of the stuff old timers did, and they had rudimentary, crude tools. I said, they didn't know better. They had a lot of enthusiasm or energy.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And I must
It
say,
is.
about enthusiasm. One time I had a flat tire. No big deal, right? But my spare tire was buried, and I thought, oh, what am I going to do? I whittled the plug out of redwood and stuck it in there and drove about a mile to Pine Grove, aired my tire, drove down Cedar Hill, aired my tire, and drove home. So it's where there's a will, there's a way sometimes.
Did you
That's
ever
right.
see the movie, The Fastest Indian?
Yes.
Yes,
Well,
I did.
That old coot from New Zealand.
Burn his leg and all.
Yes.
Yeah, but he was
Yeah.
innovative. I mean, that was one
right.
of the things that was so intriguing. If you
Right.
have you seen that movie?
I have never seen that movie.
You'd love it. It's
Yeah.
fascinating about this old dude in New Zealand who had a dream.
Wouldn't give up.
Wouldn't give up, and he didn't have a lot of money, but what he did with his motorcycle was amazing, and what he
Right.
accomplished. Great movie. What about anybody else? Visions for this coming year?
Well, my church group has this thing every Wednesday or so. And basically we go out and we help the community in different ways. One of the ways is we'll go to some of our members and, like clean their car, or we'll go to some other people's place and we'll just ask if they need any help out,
So
like
it's really
weed eating or,
service-oriented.
yeah.
Right.
And so what's your goal or your vision for that group?
I don't really know.
But
I have gone with them a few times. It just feels very good to go and help out.
Yeah, there's something about
Wonderful.
giving of yourself.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes the giver gets just as much, if not more, as
Yeah.
the person
Exactly.
who gets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
It is nice.
Yeah. What about school?
Um,
What would you're going to be finishing up 8th grade, which means by the end of this year, you're going to be in high school.
that is correct.
Yeah. So what's your vision for that?
I'm gonna try and keep getting good grades, and I would like to see my school do more. Maybe more, fundraisers or something. Maybe a service project that we could do for people, because we, as a school, get a lot.
Yeah. A lot of community
But-
support.
I don't remember the last time that there has been something that our school has done to benefit others. Really.
So,
Yeah.
do you have an idea in mind what you want after high school? I know it's still early in your life, but have you thought about it yet?
I'm definitely planning on going to a college after high school.
Well, I'm sure that we'll be hearing more from you over the years. I have a feeling, because you're thoughtful. You're also involved in what, martial arts of some kind?
I go to the Kaizen class.
Oh, cool. Just down here in
it's-
Jackson?
Yeah, I take jiu-jitsu there.
Great. Good. So watch out,
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah.
Wants to
You
learn
meant to tie
that.
us up in knots. I was kidding.
Well, good. You look
Okay.
like you had something to say there, Tom.
I was going to say that's great. I'm always amazed at people that want to share so much and do things for the community. Because we see that all the time, and I guess in a way it surprises me all the time. I'm not quite sure why. Everybody does things and gives things and that, but it still does.
We live in a good community.
Oh, yeah,
I've
we
heard
have
a number of people say that
Fantastic service clubs
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
service clubs
Yeah,
and
do.
foundations and
Yeah.
nonprofits. Yeah. What about you, Brian?
Well, one thing I'd like to do, I wouldn't call it mission impossible, but it seems like it is. I'd like our roads in better shape. And trying to find money, resources for that is,
Yeah. And that
really
is a
hard.
partnership. Isn't it sort of a partnership, or is it
Yeah.
all state and federal?
talking like county roads, but there's you have the states have their roads, but county roads, just trying to find the funding is really what it is, and figure a way to do that, and that's really tough. But I look at our roads and
But I have to give credit. I mean, I know it's not been an easy last couple of years with the economy, but our county has made a budget and kept a budget over
Yeah.
the years, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
and
really something to be proud of in spite of
Yeah.
the...
And we still got reserves, and it's like, off the top of my head, I want to say our budgets were probably 15 years, say 15 years ago, it was about 79, 80 million is what the county had, basically for spending. Income coming in, they could spend on roads, whatever, services, and now I want to say it's about 65, 66 million. And so that's just, it's kind of like if your income got cut.
Yeah.
You're talking probably
It's a big drop.
20%.
Yeah. So, and yet somehow we've seemed to manage, and we'll find a way. I think that's the thing. You said it's a mission impossible, but
I
it's
said
like
almost,
creating
Yeah.
that vision first. You will
Right.
find a way and get ideas from others to.
Well, that's where
to make
growth
it happen.
comes in too.
Yeah.
With a little bit extra growth, we have more tax dollars, and it makes things easier, and a lot more people can be helped that way.
Well, this
Yeah.
is a perfect time to we need to break to
Okay.
thank the sponsors for taking the show and helping us go.
And now back to Insights on Leadership in Life with your host, Roberta Pickett.
Hi, and welcome back to Insights on Leadership in Life. I'm Roberta Pickett, host of the show, and with me tonight are Tom Slivick, Brian Oneto, Wolf Hein, and Vinnie Bunch. And so we thank you for being here this evening. We're talking about our vision for 2015, and we've sort of talked about the community and about our businesses and growth and opportunities. But I want to take it down a notch and ask you guys. I don't get to ask guys about personal things very often. It's all the gals usually talk about that personal stuff. But I want to know about personally. What do you want for 2015? What's your vision for this coming year? Anybody?
Well, jokingly, I am about to lose some weight.
That's good.
I'll tell you why. I had a cow die. It happens. It wasn't good.
Now that's an interesting segue.
But it is.
Okay.
She had a baby calf.
Yeah.
So I had to go get the little bugger and brought it up and been feeding the calf and we let it out around the house. Well, I don't want to learning how to get my porch to my house, so I run around the house after I'm done feeding it because it chases you. And I don't want them to realize where I'm going, so I run around the house and it's getting faster. So
And you're getting slower?
I don't know, I'm getting slower, but it's getting a lot faster. So I got to try to get faster. So.
Okay, that may not be weight, it's just practice. Practice,
Could be.
practice,
Maybe
practice.
old age catching up to me.
Okay, so we know what Brian wants.
Actually, it's, I would like to see family doing well, like to see friends, family, county doing well. Also, another thing, I think a lot of people are really tired of all the conflicts have been in, whichever president it may be. It seems like there's always these wars, and I'm kind of looking, going, okay, we're going in here to fix this problem, and when we leave, the problem's worse than we went in, and I'm really questioning what we're doing there. So, and that's just.
So, you started the evening tonight about saying something about peace, and so it's interesting that you've really come back to that, because it sounds like that's.
Well, I don't mind carrying a big stick. I'm okay with that, but you use it appropriately.
Yeah.
So
Get it done and
That's
be
a-
done
yeah.
with it.
That's a big show unto itself. Maybe we'll
Yeah,
have you.
it
Maybe
is.
I'll have you on. And we'll talk about it sometime. I'd like to see my family a lot more. My sons, my grandkids, be with Susie. We had like 2 weeks off, and it was just great being with Sue without all of the stuff, because some people might not know, but we kind of shut the station down, and Tommy works, puts all the shows on, things together that we tape, and that goes on. So that's one thing I'd like to do. At the same time,
Isn't that
I
nice,
can't
though,
help
to
but feel,
know
I
that-
guess maybe in a way, like, people talk about give back. I said, I feel like I feel like a lot of the seriousness that's going to be here in the county. We're going to be talking about the general plan. We're going to be talking about Moke-wise, what's going to happen in the Moke River. And so that's coming back around. I know that's in Brian's wheelhouse, but it's also a lot of the stuff it's not in my wheelhouse, but it's like certainly I'm very aware of it from my position as, what we do to be plugged in, like the schools, just about everything. Now, maybe not as much now as we did when we would be out in the community really early when we built the studio, it was kind of the doctor thing. You get a lot more people in here and do a lot more things, as opposed to the doctor going to everybody's house. It might not be as interesting, but we can do more stuff. And I'm a very serious guy about what goes on, because I think that is our environment. Our environment, I can live in it. I'm concerned for Vinnie and his grandkids, and my grandkids, and I think sometimes my kids, they don't have the, as much concern, or maybe a lot of people don't, because they're working, they have their job, they've got their families, and that's more important. So sometimes maybe as older folk or whatever, we have the time and the length of vision to see the change, where things are headed and things, and I guess that's a lot of my passion. I think most people know it. It makes me kind of a pain, because they're painful things. They're serious things.
To discuss them
Right.
sometimes. It's hard
But
to
like I
discuss.
said, that's your environment. Like the the USA was my environment when I grew up, and I'd like it to have been the same, because I feel it's a lot different. It's a lot different
Well,
than when we were kids.
What I
Yeah.
think I heard from you is that you're going to be staying involved in the community and keeping your voice heard, and your perspective on the way you'd like it to be, and which is good. I think I would love to see more people speak up and speak out about what they believe in, because I think you were mentioning it earlier at one of the breaks, but there's maybe
I
this.
would like the right people to speak up and what they believe in, on
small
the people that are
a
wrong
small
to
percentage.
back down. How's that?
I agree, but that is
Yeah.
a matter of perspective. So, what about you, Vinnie? What would you like personally for this coming year for yourself?
Well, I would like to be a better example to not only my friends, but to my family and to those who I'm around a lot of the time.
What's it take to be a good example?
It takes a lot of commitment to whatever you're trying to do at the time. Like for me, I would like to, be more sensitive to, people and their feelings and that kind of thing.
Things that maybe they're going through
Yeah.
but they don't talk about, they don't know. So you don't know what's happening in their lives, but you make assumptions. We all do that, unfortunately, yeah. Yeah, that's good. Anything else? Are you the oldest? No, you're not the oldest in your family, huh? You've got older.
No,
Yeah.
I was the firstborn.
Oh, you are the oldest. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So that puts a little pressure on you too to be the
Yeah.
role model for the ones that are younger. Yeah,
Definitely.
it's good. Well, just with that attitude and that perspective, my sense is that you're going to be it. And we all make mistakes in life. If you asked any of us off the air what they are, but we all make mistakes in life, or make decisions that we afterwards go, oh my gosh, why did I do that? The key is not to make mistakes. The key is to learn from them. Okay. And
survive.
Yeah,
survive.
and survive.
Yes,
That's right.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
made a comment earlier about toolboxes. What was that?
Well, I was talking to my son, and I was telling him, kind of in life, you want to learn a lot of skills, you want to learn a lot of knowledge. And he even said, I wasn't thinking about me, but maybe I'm qualifying, I'm getting a lot of gray hair. Like older people, you can learn a lot from them. And I said, it's like having a toolbox. If you go to a job or you want to go do something, you have a toolbox, you can do the job. But if you show up at work and in your toolbox, which is your mind or your skills that you've acquired, you've got one or no tools in your toolbox, I said, you're not a very valued employee, or you're not going to be a very capable entrepreneur. But if you've got a lot of tools in your toolbox that you've learned from people, that you've learned from different places, you can do a lot of things in life. A lot
That's
of
true.
avenues open up for you.
Brian,
Yeah.
I've looked at life, and not just life like that, but anything you have is a tool, just about. And we have so you have the
Knowledge.
capacity for something because
Right.
you have a different tool. I just what can I do with this tool?
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to find jobs for the tool and another tool and things
Exactly.
like that.
And
so
they start
so
to
those
connect
are like
and
Right.
the
overlap.
tools.
Yeah.
The tools are like opportunities, and the opportunities open up doors and all that.
Sure.
But it's all like what could I do with that? What could I
It's
do
your
with
knowledge.
that?
Knowledge is a tool too. How to
Exactly,
do
yeah.
something,
Right.
or
Absolutely.
how something works.
And,
Yeah.
and I think like humans right now, you need to start to find out not start to find out, but think about what makes them so valuable, because so many things that we do are going to be automated. And so one needs to learn what,
Right.
what's the
The
value
future.
of a human being?
Right,
It
right.
was
And what do you like
interesting.
doing?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really important. If you do something you like, you'll normally succeed.
Right.
That's true. It's a good thing
And that's
to
where,
remember.
that's where the enthusiasm comes in
Yeah.
also.
So what?
I mean, I'm looking, because we're not separate parts. Like for my business and for my family, Jackson's very important, and Main Street is very important. And I see Main Street in big changes. We've been going up and down, but I see real positive things on Main Street. We have shops that go in and out all the time, but I think one or two people with enough vision can create a snowball effect where we get better shops, and this can happen all over the county. For me, I'm set right here, and I think we just need to look beyond our county, because we do need to bring people into the county.
Attract them.
And our
Yeah.
main streets are so important because it's the identity of the community, whether it's Main Street for Ione or Main Street for Sutter Creek, in Plymouth and in Jackson. I mean, it's really important, but we have to put all of our abilities to work in our own businesses, but also support the other business around us, because the people that are around me are just as important as I am.
Because they
because they-
impact you. Yeah.
Because we can't have a good business if we have empty stores
That's right.
around. So it's really important.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
shows how we are connected,
Right.
and that it's good to
Yeah.
create something good on our own, and yet we can't be totally isolationists and
Right.
ignore what's going on around us.
Perfect example is that
Yeah.
Couts Ironstone Winery over in Murphy's. When they showed up and started that business, I mean, that is now it's a flourishing town.
Oh,
It
it
is.
changed the
Business.
whole community,
Right.
how they did that.
That is
Yeah.
right.
And potentially upcountry, Pine Grove and even Pioneer,
Yeah.
there's possibilities for
But
things.
I
like
see
that.
this happening this next year. I think we're going to have a lot better growth. The economy is better. Things are way better than they were the last few years. And I think that's going to help with people really feeling better about themselves. I think that's going to translate into more businesses.
We only have about 20 seconds. Did I say, I'm glad you came on, because it makes me feel very good to know that
Yes.
you're a wonderful youth, you have a lot of bright ideas, and it makes me feel good that you're with us.
And I was going to say,
Sure, you
good
probably
night
would have
to
said that,
all.
Roberta.
Thank you all for being here on Insights in Leadership and Life.